Hi, and welcome to Tabletop Arcanum. This is Justin, and I'm bringing you another unboxing video. This time we are looking at Pendulum, the newest Stonemaier game. Arrived on my doorstep, so let's crack into it, right? First, obviously, we got a pretty box designed by Travis Jones. Robert Lessig does the art, which I've always been personally impressed with the art on almost all the Stonemaier games. They're just always very heavily thematic, very pretty. So I can't really complain about that at all. And Pendulum is not any exception to that. This is the latest worker placement, real-time actions. 1 to 5 players, because you do have the Automa option to play solo. And yeah, let's take a deeper look into it. Already we got a nice presentation of heavy, ooh, ooh. I can only convey with words the fact that this is like a linen finish rulebook, very akin to the rulebook from Wingspan. So heavy, hefty. Like this feels like a giant manual, and it's only 24 pages long, but it feels like it's a lot heavier, which is good because then I also know this manual is also going to keep up with wear and tear and is not going to fall apart as you play. Very simple player setup, lots of sidebars. Layout is not very different from most of the Stonemaier games. We're actually looking at, while it's 24 pages, this could have probably been condensed and tightened in. However, then you're dealing with like blocks and blocks of text with no visual representation. As you can see, there is tons of images of what it's talking about in the game. And then, of course, here at page 20, 2 to 3 player games, removing timers from the game, which is an option, an advanced variants for the worker placement, and as well as some FAQ and explanation. So already hefty. Next, Automa. So these are the solo rules and how to essentially spoof a player into the game with the Automa rules. Same quality, a little bit lighter, only 8 pages, so this one not too bad. One thing I do appreciate is that they are separate rule books, and you can actually identify here the Automa components versus the regular components. So if you want to try to, what I like to do is I keep it separate. So my Automa stuff is, here's my solo stuff, and I don't necessarily need to bring that out when I unbox a game at a table. Full-size box, cheat sheet. You only get one of them. So the Quick Reference guy is nice, but you only get one of them. I usually like getting more than one, so that like if you're, especially with a 5-player game, you can actually have like a couple floating around the table. Not the end of the world, because you do have the rule book, but with how heavy that rule book is, maybe a second one of those would have been a nice touch. Here's the punch board. Timer track, console, tokens. Let me see. Timer track. You get the nice, thick cardstock. Cardboard is not gonna go anywhere. And you can actually see like there's this nice tray in here already. Keeps the box pretty nice and protected. Another thing I always appreciate about Stonemaier games, not all games do this, is the rulebook is the size of the box, so you don't have like this rulebook, then components like slide in and start flopping around, damaging it. Like this is so contained that standing it up, standing outside is going to be a-okay. Playtester credits on the side there. What seems to be lacking from this particular box that most games like Wingspan and Scythe include is a how to put things back in the box side. Not the end of the world, because we're going to see how this looks in a second. So the board itself, quad fold, clean layout, very heavy on the icons. I can, by playing other Stonemaier games, I can already start picking apart some of the icons on here. As a caveat, I've tried to stay blissfully. Conceptually, I understand what Pendulum's about, and I appreciate and was excited to hear it and see what it's all about. But at the same time, I wanted to keep myself a little blissfully ignorant because I knew I was going to do something like this for the unboxing, and we have a little bit this. So. And then, so this is the 4 to 5 player version, and on the flip side is the 1 to 3, which I'm actually kind of appreciating that this is the 1 to 3 side, because then the panels are folding down, and so it's going to lay naturally flatter. One downside that you're always going to have is, because this is printed on the back, you got to have the foldovers on the edge. The edge is a little weird on this side. Scythe has the same problem because it's a double-sided board. That it's not perfect, and there's not much you can do about that in a production sense. So, while we keep that pretty board going right here. What do I have under here? Ooh. There we go. Gets my play areas going on. All right, back to the box. We've got the. Ooh. I don't know if you can see that. There's actually a piece of cardboard in here. I'm going to slice this open. These are like the player mats. But they're, the texture, you cannot convey in a video, but I will convey my excitement. Like, just touching these boards is like this fun experience already. They have a, almost like a textured finish. Trying to think of what I can describe this as. It's not, it's like a very fine sandpaper grit. That's probably the best way. Like, I wouldn't do any sanding with this, but it has a little bit of grip where I feel tokens and cubes are gonna adhere to it a little bit, and maybe not slide around. If Terraforming Mars's player boards were this finish, I think the accessories of the player board, Terraforming Mars, like organizing trays, would be less critical. But we have Gamble the Insurgent, Gamble the Bidder. So 2 characters, or 1 character, 2 different sides. Bulk the Champion and Bulk the Warmonger. Licinia, the Implacable, and the Alchemist. Drakir, the Insidious. That's a good name for a dragon. And Drakir, the Tyrant. Insidious is definitely a better, more like evil dragon name. Tyrant's not bad, but and he comes, the Tyrant, actually, looking at them, all of them, one side is actually worn. This character is recommended for experienced players. Take this character or reference card before playing. So we have kind of easy mode and more advanced mode. And then, let's see, you can probably hear the like sandpaper sound that I'm talking about here. Mesowet the Justicar and Mesowet the Pacifist. So there's some player cards. This is the Automa. Oh man, that's weird because it doesn't have the finish on the back. It's just the top, because these are double-sided, obviously, so you can use either side. And it's just weird to hold, like, having texture here and not there. In Automa 1, Automa 2, so this is how you can get that Automa players going on with there. This is what I was actually talking about. There was a piece of cardboard in here, and that is just so that all of this stays safe and not damaged, and I appreciate that, because how many times do things get shipped and then dings and dents and corners or folds or creases occur, and that's no fun, because you spend not a little bit of money on these board games, and if it's a high quality game, you want to make sure you get components that are in a good quality. So this is another board. I don't know which one this one is. Council board. So this is the council board. So, and then in here we got all the different other components. So you got quite a bit. Player pieces, so these are all your workers, including the common workers and the grande workers. If you're familiar with viticulture, we had grande workers in there too. Nice, honestly, that's like one of the prettiest blues. Let me zoom in here and drop these meeples. So it's like a nice, I mean, grande workers, no joke, they are grande. So yeah, blue, white, get the rest of them. Where's the grande orange? Bring that back a little bit. Grande orange, grande black. So for multiple purposes, you have different sizes, different shapes. So even you're looking at pieces that are easily identifiable on the table, on the board, and colors that are in a scheme that's a lot more color friendly than most games that stick with like the red meeple, the blue meeple, the yellow meeple, the sorry, I didn't have those in frame. Yeah, red blue are usually, or red green combinations. So it's definitely something that designers are getting a lot better, being conscious of those color schemes. I'm personally a red player myself, but I don't care at the same time. If I kind of given the choice, I pick red, and if I don't have that choice, I don't really fight over it. So let's see what else we got in this delicious box. So that's our workers. This looks to be the privilege markers, and ooh, these are neat. So these, another bag of tokens, and these are all plastic. We got these really thick boys. Like this is one on its side. There's a top, and let me get the third one so you can see the profile of the hourglass. So this you get 3 of these, and they're these time markers, and they're massive. Little hexagon pillars, also in all 5 in the player colors. And then there is this time marker. Oh, I gotta adjust this a little bit. 1 second. That's my problem. This time marker here, that's for untimed games, and all the other pieces for those. And those are the hexagonal achievement markers and hexagonal octagon and hexagon achievement and privilege markers, respectively. But nice, good plastic components there. They're not going to; those are not going to deteriorate on you at all. This next piece here, these are some voting chits, also in that nice plastic. And then we also have some BP tokens. these are just kind of round discs. Each player will have 4 of those. But they are not color-coded to the player, they're color-coded to what they represent on the tracks instead. So each player would get 1 of each color in those. And then we've got other like resource tokens. I'm gonna have to crack some of these open. We'll say, if Jamie actually watches this, thank you once again for including baggies in your games. I always am a fan of like, hey, you know, we have a lot of tokens in these games and we need to figure out how to store them. And so we've got pulled apart bags for resource tokens, but then we have Ziploc bags to store them in. So thank you for that. I will always be appreciated of that. Now this is actually really neat. This is a legendary achievement token. And I can't necessarily say what it's made out of. It feels like, it feels metal. Because there's heft to this thing. But nice, thick token. This is not going to go anywhere. And actually, in a real-time game where we're moving stuff around, we talked about this in, Ricky and I did this in the pandemic rapid response review, where the components were kind of a problem, and part of the chaos of the game is like it's all real time, but then you're resetting components in real time, and that can get a little messy. Let's bust open 1 of each of these. So we'll get a couple of the resource cubes out here. They're very nice generic colors, and I will also say one thing I do like about them is they are not colors used elsewhere with player colors, but they are matched to the victory, the VP markers, because those are kind of tied to each other. So let's take a little bit closer look here. Boop. Yeah, my light's a little off here. These are like a nice yellow gold color. We got kind of a rust brown in here, and then like a dark, almost navy blue, which are the same colors in here, which are those VP markers, but they are not the same colors that the players get to use. So easy to identify that they are not specifically player tokens, but they're resource tokens. Easily identifiable tokens is always a plus. Let's take a look. We got 3 sand timers in the game. It is a real-time game, and the sand timers are a component of the game. They are part of the regular version of the game. As we flipped through the manual a little bit ago, there is an optional variant where you can have an untimed game. I will have to play, and Ricky and I will do a review on this to see the differences if we like play timed, untimed. But these are nice, solid sand timers. I don't feel like I'm gonna break them. They're a little top heavy, I will say, is my first reaction to them, where I can accidentally like tip them over. So is that a good thing, bad thing? We don't know, but normally with a timer you don't want to mess with it too much. 3 of those: black sand, purple sand, green sand. Other fun color choices, not gonna lie. What else do we have? We have province cards. We have the deck of stratagem cards, and actually there's quite a bit of these. Let's crack these open and take a look at some of those. Can't I get it open? There we go. It does have the very nice tab. Oh, and of course I opened that like an idiot and peel it at the seal, which is fine, but then I find out that it's not the tab I needed. Nice mini American card size here. We also lots of cards. Good finish. This is honestly not surprising to me, mostly because if you've played any of the other Stonemaier games, this is the quality of components that you come to expect from a Stonemaier game. So we got lots of different cards in here. Some of our Grande Council cards, Council rewards, Final Council rewards, stratagem cards for each player, and those look to be identified, easily identified with the marks on the back. Let's take a closer look at those. So that's kind of what the stratagem cards look like. They have the, this one has that bowl icon on it on the front, and then if I flip it over, it's also on this, so we know which of the characters that is associated with. It is very icon heavy, and I can already tell you, it's, you know, you have a choice of this or this, and then it goes to that. Like, there's a lot of design thought behind those types of icons and how to present them, and it makes other games in the Stonemaier family easier accessible. Because if you've played one Stonemaier game, it's not saying that you've played them all, but I'm saying that with each one, some of the icons are very uniform and universal, or at least attempted to be universal when possible. So these are your province cards, and with the universality, like, you can actually learn a secondary Stonemaier game a little bit faster because the icons are not going to be super foreign to you. These are those little square cards, so for those sleepers out there, these are like, I think the square sleeves would fit these. I don't think they're an unusual size. But you get 56 of these province cards, and they have a good finish on them too. Definitely a little bit better than I would expect from most games. It's to the point where I don't know if I feel the need to sleeve because of the finish on them. So I usually tend to sleeve if it's like a deck builder where the wear and tear is going to become important. For example, but the other reason why is, like, sometimes if the card's not a great finish, not a great quality, it's something I would change up. So we got Automa cards. That's the universe. Again, I'm talking universal icon, so the Automa symbol's on there. So I know this is for Automa play. I think these were on the reference card. We have some reference cards for the various characters that you play as in the game. Double-sided, lots of text. Ooh, man. And they're double-sided, so one is, yeah. I don't know much about that going into it. We will learn more, I guess, when we do the review. 5-player reference cards, so these are your phases, as well as action summary card. I'm not exactly sure. Again, like I said, it's trying to stay a little ignorant just to have a little bit more genuine first reaction on that. We'll find out what those are eventually. 10 achievement cards. So here's the various achievements that you can earn in the game. And that is it. This is Pendulum by Stonemaier Games. It was available on pre-order, so people who pre-ordered it directly through Stonemaier are getting their copies now. I know some have already been out. I just got mine personally today, so this is why I'm doing my video on it. And so hopefully before retail hits, I will get a review with Ricky about this game so that you can make some more educated decisions of our thoughts on the game itself. But here's the components, here's what we're playing with, and that's Pendulum. Everything kind of fits right back in the box, so I will end this stream now, and thank you for watching. We are doing more of these, so if you hit that subscribe button, we appreciate your time and energy to go and see us. We also are doing more reviews. We've upped our time on the reviews, so anywhere you find podcasts, follow us, Tabletop Arcanum. We're also on Twitter. So Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're on all of them. So reach out, talk to us, and tell us what you think and what you're excited about Pendulum. And keep those alerts going, because we'll let you know, especially on YouTube, when the review for Pendulum will drop. Till then, happy gaming.